Well, they are the most technologically savvy generation ever. We're talking about Generation Alpha, and I'm raising 3 kids in this generation. They have tech so integrated into their lives, it's like something we've never seen before. So how do we find the balance for our families? Well, we leave those hard questions to the parentologist and mom, Dr. Kim Van Dusen. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Doctor.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You have 2 in Generation Alpha as well. Tell us a little bit about this age group. Kind of what is the age limit for this so people know if they've got kids in Alpha or just outside of it?
Yeah, sure. So Generation Alpha are children that are born between the years of 2010 and 2025. So some haven't even been born yet. So if a parent out there has a child 11 years old or younger, or is soon to have a child, they will be in the Generation Alpha, where it's known to be, as you said, the most technological age group, where they're completely immersed their entire lives in technology, also known as the glass generation, since glass-fronted devices will be their main mode of communication.
Yeah, I mean, I'm texting my son now. I mean, it just seems so weird to me to be doing that. We're texting back and forth. He has his own iPad now, and the reasons that we invested in that technology is because there's a lot of tools you can use. There's a lot of educational tools. I mean, all in moderation, of course, right? But there's a lot of ways for them to learn, and if this is going to be their way of doing things, they need to get used to this technology, right?
Yes. And, it's actually the technology out there, like you said, there's a lot of educational programs and apps out there that are really beneficial way of learning for children. It's very kinesthetic, it's very hands-on, it's very experiential, and it makes children love to learn. It makes children love education, which could in the future lend to getting higher degrees, getting better jobs, getting paid more money, during their jobs. Things like coding were things that I didn't even hear of when I was a kid. And now their coding classes are as common as taking a gymnastics class or a soccer class or an art class. And so they're learning skills that are definitely setting up for a lot of success in the future.
Screen time is now, part of schooling, and it's part of playtime as well. So how do we find that balance, Doctor? I mean, when it comes to screen time, how much is too much, or does it depend on the age?
Yeah, it depends on the age. You'll read a lot of research out there about what they recommend. Right now, a lot of studies are showing that on average, most toddlers and young children, it goes up with age obviously, get about 2 to 3 hours of screen time a day. So with Generation Alpha parents, it's really important for them to really set boundaries and really set limits when it comes to screen time, and really encourage their kids to do other things as well. I mean, I think there's a lot of benefits to screen time. I have 2 in this generation. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they utilize screen time a lot, especially with a lot of those educational apps we just discussed. But with this age group, since technology is so prominent, it's really up to the parents to find that balance and to encourage them to do other things, like go on one-on-one play dates, go on field trips, have dinner at the table together, find other ways to communicate with their family and friends, playing outside, getting dirty, in the dirt, all those things, going on a hike, getting movement, getting exercise. So it's really the parents to say, hey, I want, you to have both, and encourage them to have a balance between the two, and really give them ideas of things they can do besides screen time, because it's so easy just to go right to that. Yeah. But if they say, hey, instead, how about you go do, some playing outside for 30 minutes and then come back in and do screen time, most likely the child will comply and want to do that too.
Yeah, you got to earn screen time at my house, so I like that idea. Yeah. And I will say that the iPads and all the other devices have gotten a lot better with parent controls. They've got brown lighting so that your eyes aren't so, put out of whack right before you go into bed. So they've gotten a lot better. And I know you talk a lot about this on your Parentologist podcast. So tell us just briefly about that, and then where we can find out more.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I just started my podcast and I'm very excited about it. Episode 9 just launched yesterday. It's all about parenting. It's about childhood. It's about mental health. And so all of these topics like we're talking about today and many more are being discussed on the podcast. And I'm also going to be writing up a little more detail of what we didn't get to talk about on the air today on my blog. So if anyone wants to head there after this segment, that'd be great. I'll have that up by probably tonight or tomorrow to talk a little more detail about Generation Alpha, about setting those boundaries, about finding balance, and then all the benefits to technology too that I think of our generation that were parents that know a generation that was like without technology, this is all these children know. And so there's definitely a lot of benefits to it. So I'm talking about that on the blog and hopefully on the podcast as well soon. But they can find me at The Parentologist on Instagram or at The Parentologist Podcast on Instagram. And then I'm on Apple and Spotify. And you can head to my blog, and all of the different podcast listening modes are on my blog, my website, which is theparentologist.com.
Dr. Kim Van Dusen, thanks so much for your time here this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great morning.